Arsenal fans are known to have a hard time forgetting when a player turns their back on them or betrays their trust. So today, we are going to talk about the 5 times Arsenal players forced to move away from the club, and to this day, the fans have never forgiven them for that. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Number 5, Alex Song. Alex Song joined Arsenal in 2006 from then Ligue 1 club Bastia, and the Cameroonian made 133 appearances for the club under Arsene Wenger, scoring 7 goals along the way. Song never won any trophies with Arsenal, and in the summer of 2012, he handed in a transfer request. Because, for what would he later publicly reveal, he didn't give a about being a bench warmer at the Camp Nou because I knew how much money I would earn. Song was never one of the biggest stars in the team during his time with Arsenal, but when he stepped on a pitch, he always put in a shift and proved his worth. And slowly but surely, he became one of the fans' favorites. So when the news got out that the midfielder handed in a transfer request and that he wants to leave the club, naturally, fans did not take that news very well. But all in all, when the news broke out about him wanting to leave, Barcelona immediately offered £15 million to Arsenal for his services, and the player decided to leave Emirates and join the Camp Nou club. Song spent 4 years with Barca, with 2 of those seasons being out on loan at West Ham, before then joining Rubin Kazan on a free transfer. Now 35 years old, Song recently talked about his Barcelona transfer on Instagram during the interview with his countryman, NBA star Pascal Siakam. And the ex-gunner said, "Most footballers live beyond their means. I was at Arsenal for 8 years, but only began to earn a good living in the last 4. That was because my salary went up a lot, but also because I came to realize what a waster I was. When I first joined them, I was getting £15,000 a week. I was a young lad and I was ecstatic. I wanted to rub shoulders with the big boys. I could shop wherever I wanted and have crazy nights out. I would go to training and see Thierry Henry, the king, turn up in an absolute gem of a car. I told myself I wanted the same car at all costs. I went to the dealership, signed the papers, and arranged to pay for it by standing order. And just like that, I had the same car as the king. But I swear that I had to hand the car back inside 2 months. All my money was going on filling it with petrol. I told him, give me a Toyota. This car's too much for me. When I next went to training, Thierry Henry asked me, where's your car, son? I told him it's on a higher level than me. During my entire time at Arsenal, I couldn't even save £100,000, while people thought I must be a millionaire. When Barcelona offered me a contract and I saw how much I would earn, I didn't think twice. I felt my wife and children should have comfortable lives once my career is over. I met Barca's sporting director and he told me I would not get to play many games. But I didn't give a because I knew that now I would become a millionaire. To this day, even though they were angry with the player at the time, Arsenal fans have more or less forgotten about Alex Song. And judging by the overall situation and the direction his career took after his departure, probably none of the fans today are too upset about Song leaving the club that summer. Number 4, Cesc Fabregas. Similar to Alex Song's situation, Cesc Fabregas also handed a transfer request because he wanted to join Pep Guardiola and FC Barcelona in the summer of 2011. But to make the whole situation even worse for the fans, Cesc Fabregas was the Arsenal star at the time, a captain and a player who's been at the club since he was 16 years old. And when the news finally broke out, Arsenal fans were left furious with the Spaniard's decision. According to reports at the time, Cesc Fabregas was so desperate to leave Arsenal for Barcelona that he has offered to give up more than £4 million worth of bonuses. Just a week before the start of the new Premier League season, the 24-year-old has told Arsenal he will waive the payments, believed to relate to loyalty bonuses on the remaining 4 years of his contract, in a last-ditch bid to force through a move. And when the reporters asked Arsene Wenger why Fabregas hasn't been playing for the club, Wenger said, no, he's not injured. He's training normally but hasn't played since Bolton, which is 2.5 months. The situation with Cesc is not sorted out, but I don't want to talk about it anymore. And just like that, only 1 week later, the long-running show between Arsenal and Barcelona has finished, with Fabregas joining the Spanish side on a 5-year contract. In his first press conference at the new club, when asked about his former club Arsenal, Cesc Fabregas said, all I have are words of gratitude. I'll never forget what they have done for me. I gave absolutely everything to the club, and I think they know that. As part of his Barcelona contract, Arsenal had first refusal on Fabregas, providing the Gunners with the chance to have the Spanish star back. So it came as a surprise to just about everyone when 3 years later, Arsene Wenger opted against a reunion with the player that he once admired so much. It was general guidance for me to make the players realize that if you leave here, you don't come back, Wenger admitted while explaining his decision. Well, we all know what happened next. Cesc Fabregas decided to join Jose Mourinho's Chelsea, and the playmaker lifted 2 Premier League titles with the West London club, as well as an FA Cup and a Europa League winners' medal, after the Blues beat the Gunners in the 2018 final. Fabregas' Arsenal legacy is one that still divides opinion among the Gunners fans to this day, and we could only imagine what would have happened if he had decided to stay at Arsenal. So what are your thoughts on Cesc Fabregas today? Write down in the comments, cause I would really love to hear you out. Number 3, Emmanuel Adebayor. Well, let's start with this. In 2018, when he was playing for a Turkish side, Istanbul Başakşehir, Adebayor gave an interview where he touched on the topic of him leaving Arsenal in 2009. So, this is what he said. Arsene Wenger was fake, and I always preferred honesty of Jose Mourinho when I was at Real Madrid. When I joined Manchester City, I saw him doing a press conference in London saying that I wanted to leave because the money was big, and since that day, that is where my hate for Arsenal came from. Okay, so to give you all some context, according to Adebayor, the official story regarding his transfer is this. In July 2009, he left Arsenal and joined Manchester City for £25 million, with many Arsenal fans feeling let down by the move. And to this day, Adebayor insists he had no desire to leave Arsenal at the time and that he was actually pushed out by Wenger. So, the teams met 2 months later in the Premier League, and Adebayor scored against his old club in a 4-2 win, famously running the length of the pitch to celebrate in front of the traveling Arsenal fans, with projectiles, including a chair, thrown from the away end. It earned him a suspended 2-match ban and a £25,000 fine. But, like always, there are 2 sides to every story. So here is what Arsene Wenger said about Adebayor's transfer in his interview with David Ornstein in 2020. If you leave here, you don't come back. It was a way to retain players, who sometimes said they wanted to see if the grass was greener somewhere else. But the former Arsenal striker saw that interaction very differently, claiming that Arsene Wenger made it clear his future lay away from the Gunners. So make of it what you will, and decide for yourself. But, like always, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Number 2, Ashley Cole. Ashley Cole's decision to move to Chelsea from London rivals Arsenal in 2006 was one of the most controversial transfers of the Premier League era and saw Willian Gallas go the other way, along with a fee of £5 million paid to the Gunners. The rush deal on the final day of the summer transfer window marked the final decline in the relationship between Cole and the club he began his career at, and the publication of his autobiography a few months later ensured that his legacy was forever tarnished. Boyhood Arsenal fan Cole came through the youth ranks at the club before being handed his first team debut in the Worthington Cup tie with Middlesbrough in November 1999. The young left-back was viewed as one of the most exciting prospects in Arsene Wenger's squad, and soon after that, he cemented his place in the Arsenal first team after an injury to Silvinho. Cole's love affair with the club began to go downhill as his profile began to grow. Personal success at Euro 2004 saw him named in the UEFA Team of the Year, but his final few years at Arsenal were hindered by injury and intrigue. With talks over a new contract proving tough to conclude, Ashley Cole was approached by Chelsea's representatives, before deciding to join the West London club after he had direct talks with Jose Mourinho. During his last year's interview with talkSPORT, former Arsenal chief David Dein has apologized to Ashley Cole following his North London exit, 17 years after the controversial saga that saw him leave. We should never have lost him, in my opinion. His contract came up for renegotiation and we didn't offer him the right sort of money. Meanwhile, Chelsea did. I got a call one day from a journalist from the News of the World at the time, and he said, "We've got a hot story of the press. Your player Ashley Cole is being tapped up by Chelsea. I think you should come and see us." I went to their offices and they said here's a signed statement from a waiter at a restaurant where Ashley Cole is meeting Chelsea. He was an Arsenal fan, the waiter, clearly, and he gave the story to the News of the World, and it broke there and then. That was the end of that, and it really was a great shame because Ashley was homegrown, an Arsenal boy, and I regret that we didn't do enough at the time to keep him at the club. It was also at a time where we were talking about building the stadium and finances. So tensions were raging about how we were going to finance the stadium, and we were watching every penny. We didn't go far enough to keep him, and I regret that with hindsight. Ashley, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Ashley Cole left the Gunners before they embarked on a lengthy period without a trophy that spanned for almost 10 years. Meanwhile, he went on to claim 4 FA Cups, another Premier League title and a Champions League in West London. The former England international has previously opened up on his exit from the Gunners, who he claims made him the scapegoat, which altered his perception of the club he'd spent his entire career at. And number 1, Robin van Persie. From hero to zero. Arsenal and Manchester United have always had a fierce rivalry, but Arsenal's fans were left furious when the club sold striker Robin van Persie to their arch rivals back in 2012. The Red Devils poached the Dutchman during the summer that year, and, as you would imagine, Arsenal fans felt shocked and betrayed by their former captain. And to make matters worse, he also helped United win their 20th title in his first season with the club. Van Persie has since come out and admitted he has no regrets about leaving Arsenal and that it was the right step for his career. The Dutchman was Arsenal's main man during his final years at the Emirates, and in his last season with the club, Van Persie shined under Arsene Wenger, scoring 30 league goals and winning his first Golden Boot. Yet Arsenal still only finished third that year, 19 points behind champions Manchester City. And according to Van Persie, it was because of the difference in quality between Arsenal and other top clubs in the country that he started pushing for a transfer away from the Emirates. Robin Van Persie has also later revealed that Arsenal had an obsession with finances, as opposed to winning silverware, and that he just wanted a chance to win something big in his career. The Dutchman spent 8 years at the Emirates Stadium, and despite taking part in a host of title races and strong cup runs during his time in North London, Van Persie would leave Arsenal with just one FA Cup and Community Shield to his name. He left Manchester United in 2015 and joined Turkish side Fenerbahce, before moving back to his homeland to end his career at boyhood club Feyenoord. Mercenary, traitor, and glory hunter are just some of the terms used by Arsenal fans to address Robin Van Persie. And to this day, you will be hard-pressed to find an Arsenal fan who will say something positive about the club's former captain. And that is all. So tell me, are there any other players who should have been included in this list? If you think so, write down in the comments. Thank you all for watching, thank you for joining in, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.